All right, section 7b. Short section, very short section, the other half of the quadratic formula section. I want to help you identify, now that you have all three methods, or actually all four methods, when it's best to use a method. And this will hopefully help you say, hey, the easiest way to do it is this, so I'm going to go that method. Maybe the easiest is completing the square, so I use that method. Maybe the easiest is factoring, so I use that method. I want you to be able to identify when it's easiest to use a certain method, and that's the goal of this. And I kind of gave you a key up at the top here. All right, couple keys. If it has no x term, that makes the problem incredibly simple. You take the square root of both sides once you isolate the x squared, and I'll show you what that means. If it's easily factorable, okay? It's x squared, small numbers, set up your t, factor it. If the x squared term is 1 and the middle term is even, like we did yesterday, complete the square. And at all costs, if nothing else works, the quadratic formula. Okay? Luke, grab that door if you would, please. So, just really quickly as we isolate these. What are you missing here on this one? What's missing? No, the c is 36, negative 36. X. You're missing the x. So the method for this would be square roots. Okay? To review how to do square roots, very simple. 4x squared minus 36 equals 0. We add 36 to both sides. 4x squared equals 36. We divide by 4. X squared equals 9. We take the square root of both sides, remembering the plus or minus. And just like that, your answer is plus or minus 3. So when you're missing the bx term, isolate the x squared, take the square root, boom, you got your answer. All right, look at the second one. 3x squared, 2x minus 17. Okay? It has a number in front. If there's a number in front, then what are we going to focus on? You can't factor it easily. You can't complete the square easily. So what are you going to do? Quadratic formula. Okay? So you've got to make sure that you're using the appropriate way. So in this one, we're going to do the quadratic formula. What you just learned. We're not going to practice that because we just did it, 8 times. Look at this next one. What do you notice about the first term? It's single x squared. What do you notice about the middle? It's even. What might work well with a 1x squared and an even number in the middle? Complete the square. Or you might be able to factor it. All right? But this would be a good candidate for completing the square. Because it's even in the middle and it's a 1x squared. Let's flip that over. X squared minus 6x plus 10 equals 0. Was that the right problem? Yeah. Okay? Move the 10 over. Plus blank, negative 10, plus blank. Because remember, with completing the square, Drew, we move the numbers away from the other stuff. Raise your hand if you know what goes in the blank. Brett? Didn't hear you? 9. You got it. So, x minus 3 squared equals negative 1. Raise the roof, hold the fort. You have something squared equals a negative.
No solutions.
Right.
No real number.
No real solution. You guys are getting good at seeing that. So, when do we look for completing the square? When it's even and just an x squared. Look at this next one. Just an x squared, but what's the middle term? It's not even. So probably not a good completing the square one. But the numbers are pretty small, aren't they?
Yeah, but so.
Let's see if we can factor this. X squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. Can you think of anything that multiplies to negative 6 that adds to negative 1? 1 and negative 6 doesn't. What about 2? Does 2 work? Not only does that make the factors work, the shortcut says that becomes x plus 2 and x minus 3 equals 0. So now we use that zero product property back from section 5, and we say, oh, x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. We subtract 2, add 3. I'm sorry. I'll pause here. So we look to factor when it's possible, split it up using the zero product property, and solve each one. Are they all going to be factorable? No, actually a very rare number will be. But I just say, when it looks like it's easy, try. If it doesn't work over here, you can always use the quadratic formula. Yes, Josh?
Are you supposed to have the and or in between the two equations?
Usually or. And then we'd always write it as a solution set.
What if it's the plus and minus thing? Then you
That's fine. Plus or minus is fine.
No,
So this one,
if you have plus or minus, you say and.
or, still or. Plus or minus. Okay? Our last one. Tell me what your suggestion would be. It's 1x squared, but what's the middle? It's not odd, or it's not even. So either factoring or what?
Quadratic.
Let's think factoring. Does anything multiply to negative 1 that adds to 3?
No. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, wait, no.
No.
Negative.
So right there, you know it doesn't what? Factor, so you're going to have to use the quadratic. So just trying to show you how to target stuff as we're looking there. All right, so second little homework assignment.
What?
All right?
I'm more problem.